because of a writer in residence grant that we received. Tonight's presentation is being done on Treaty 6 and 8 land, both sides of the Athabasca River. Welcome. Tonight our guest, our genius, is Santina Cross. And there's so much to say and so much to ask. What I'm going to do is sort of divide it up into two, if that's going to be okay. We'll do a process and then the product. And the product is Santina's book, Shop with Sun Signs. And the process is going to be us asking her as many questions as we can possibly ask without being too obtrusive, to find out what makes her tick, what makes her a writer, and how she got to this point of being a genius of this place. And Santina's place is not just the territories 6 and 8. It's it's everywhere. It is the universe. So I'd like to start off just with the process. Okay, we'll start with that first. So Santina, welcome.
Thank you.
I want to know everything. I want to know what brought you to Jasper, first of all.
Okay.
And then maybe a little bit about your background, where you went to school, what your influences were, things like that.
I came to Jasper in 1994. Oh my goodness, I'm going to get long-winded. I have to be careful. I actually was supposed to, I tried out to be an officer in the Navy, believe it or not. And I didn't pass the aptitude test. All my friends did. We all tried it together. And they were all going to BC for the summer to train for this OTC program. And I was being left behind. And so I was really upset about that. And one of my friends that was going, he said, "You should go to Jasper." I was like, "Where's that?" He said, "Oh, it's this beautiful town in the middle of the mountains. There's animals running everywhere, and there's you can live in a approved accommodation and have a place to stay, and I'll get you a job." And I was like, "Oh my God, okay, sign me up." He's like, "No, wait, I don't think you should go." I was like, "What do you mean? He's like, you'll never leave."
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so that was my first summer. I came just for the summer, and I was in university at Dalhousie University at the time.
Is that where you're from, Dalhousie?
Yes, I'm from Dartmouth, actually. But yeah, Halifax is right across the bridge. And I went to university for English, degree in English at Dalhousie.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just crossed Canada, stopped in Jasper, never left?
I did leave many, many times.
Oh, did you?
I tried to get out. This is the Hotel California. You can exit anytime you
That's
want.
true.
Yeah, so yeah, I did. I went back at the end of that summer. I only stayed like 4 months or 3 months. Went back to school, and then didn't come back the next summer. And then by the next summer, I came back again, and then I used this as a springboard for a while to travel different places. Yeah.
So make money.
Yeah.
Leave.
Exactly. Yeah, and then just got hooked.
There is something about this place, though. People always talk about Jasper being a bubble. The weather systems are different and everything. And I think it's the confluence of the rivers that gives us these valleys, and all of a sudden there is kind of a magical place here.
Big time.
And I know that some of the Stoney and some other First Nations that traveled through here saw this place as sort of like a hospital, almost. Like it was a place for healing. There's a lot of plants that they can use for healing and for whatnot. They didn't really settle here, but they came here and they used what they could, and then would go away. And it's a lot like that today too.
It is hard. I think that
people.
energy of not being able to settle is very much still here too.
Oh, yeah, right.
Coming, needing, and taking, and then leaving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking what you need if you're, and leaving what you don't if you're a good person. But yeah, definitely. I think it is a very hard place to actually stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Or you stay forever.
Yeah.
And you don't really know what's going on. You know, even there was somebody who was talking about climbing Rashbanam, old man.
Oh, I did that. It was awesome.
And they said sometimes you can and sometimes you can't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that, you know, sometimes you stay and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you try climbing it and then you realize halfway up you've forgotten your lunch, or like Vana had forgotten her insulin. And
Right.
so, and it's people who have lived here forever. That sometimes you can make it and sometimes you can't. It's almost like there's breaks. You know,
You gotta try.
Yeah.
Like, I lived in at least, I don't want to say 12 different places in this town. Probably more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like different stabacoms, different apartments, moving, coming. And many times we can be like, see you later! I'm out of here! And then like 2 months later, like,
oh, sorry, hi, I'm back.
Yeah.
So you have a family here now?
I do, yes.
So you're settled?
Yeah. I actually, I bought my house 2 years ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you
That's
so
such
much.
a big thing in this town.
It really,
Wow.
well, a condo, but yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
No,
it's huge. It's huge. Now they can't kick you out.
yeah, exactly.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how did you were an English major?
Yeah.
In university? So
I have a BA in English, barely anything.
Yeah, I have one too. Is this where you started writing? Like, was
I went to university for English
Yeah.
because writing was the only thing I was ever good at. Like in elementary school, I got 50 in everything except for composition. I got a friggin' E for excellent, you know?
Wow.
And
That's encouraging.
yeah, that was. And so I sort of always stuck with that. And so when I got to graduating, I also just went to university because all my friends were going, to be quite honest.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to be left behind. So it's like, well, what am I going to do in university? Oh, I think I was going to take English.
I'm good at English.
Right?
Yeah.
But I actually wasn't good at English. Not that kind of English.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Still very like season D's or season B minuses. Because, you know, writing essays and all like, being structured and controlled is very hard for me. But I did.
Okay, so you say control, but this is, that's a piece of work. That is a piece of work that caught like a lot of work and a lot of discipline. So where did you learn that? Because your poetry is phenomenal as well. And you write fiction. So how did you go into nonfiction?
I started with poetry.
Yeah.
And actually, I love that you call this process to product, because a friend, like many years ago now, I was going through something, I don't even remember what it was, but she said to me, trust the process of life. And that really stuck with me, and I was like, oh, okay. And like I've used it as a mantra over the years, but I never thought of it in terms of trust the process of writing. I always just trusted the process of writing. That wasn't a revelation to me.
Yeah.
It just came naturally to write. And so I did start with poetry and journaling and having pen pals and all that stuff and just really liking writing. I never, in my wildest dreams, thought that I was going to write a nonfiction book. But it's not just about what you write, it's about what you read.
Yeah.
Right?
I
And as writers, we are what we read.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I thought my first book would be a poetry anthology, I had it, she, her, and I. Like I had it all set up, right?
Oh, nice.
But
it's good to have it all.
sure. But I never read poetry. I never come to the library and get out poetry. Any librarian that knows me will know I'm in the self-help like occult science aisle. Always. I'm always there. Always, was there a new book? Like, or taking in an old one again too. And so I was really into that, and it started with my aunt giving me a deck of tarot cards when I was a teenager for Christmas. And so along with writing and reading, I also kept notes. Like I didn't just read about this shit.
Yeah.
I fucking studied it. You know, like I was like, okay, like I knew everybody's sign. I had it written down. I like compared. You know what I mean? I did all this stuff.
So you were starting already to get it like almost organized in your head.
Yeah, but unconsciously.
Yeah.
With, like, once again, trusting the process, just doing it.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
because like I'm gonna do something with this, just because like, oh, this is interesting and I'd like to write this down and tell my friends about it at a cocktail party or whatever. Right?
Well, and it's interesting that you say you didn't read poetry because not a lot
Sometimes.
of people do, but not a lot of people do, and that's the truth.
Sometimes, okay, and actually that there's a Langston Hughes poem. The blood of war is my blood. The blood of war. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That poem? Oh, I did a thing for it in like junior high, and it touched me. And with what's going on in the world right now,
I know, right?
I actually was just thinking about it. So it's not to say I don't like poetry.
No.
But however, yes, I'm seeking out nonfiction all the time. That's what that's what I know, and that's what I love to read. It's what I crave. Anyway, back to what you were saying about.
Oh, I was just gonna interrupt you.
Yes.
Saying there's at this point in the world too, with the war that's happening in Ukraine, I found that there's a lot of there's so much poetry that's coming out of it, and so many songs that are coming out of it, and maybe that's just what I'm watching, and that's my feed, but it's all of a sudden like people can't they can't describe it the horror enough. It'd be like Sudan or Darfur or Rwanda, like you can't even imagine the atrocities, and so it turns into poetry because it's almost like not softening the blow, but a way of organizing it that seems really accessible to a lot of people right now.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, like with burning journals or not burning journals.
Yeah.
And I said that to me, poetry was always coded words. You can find my poetry, but you can feel what I'm saying, but you still won't know the half of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll just imagine what it is. So
Yeah,
that's the freedom of poetry.
So maybe they're sending us messages as well, or
Totally.
Yeah. And I think too, with more experience that you have, I was in a high school class this afternoon and just speaking to them about symbols, and they were bringing out metaphors and things like that, and I thought no matter what they read, whether it's my stuff or your stuff right now, they'll read it on a certain level, and then as you gain more and more experience, you can go back to books over and over and over again, and it's deeper and it's deeper and it's deeper. And if the author's really done their job, you can read that book over like all the time. Like The Outsiders.
Yeah.
I have read that book probably 100 times.
That is an awesome book, and it makes me cry so much.
And when he's dying, when Pony Boy and Johnny
Oh
are
my
in the
God.
hospital,
Yeah.
it's a killer.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it, it's such a good book. S.E. Hinton,
Yeah, totally.
The Outsiders. So good. And she wrote it when she was 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why when I go into schools, or, like this mentorship is really exciting for me, because there's people that are going to come in and they might be S.E. Hinton.
Yeah.
Or they might be Santina Cross. And you think, wow, there's this door that opens up and then these brilliant lights come out, and that's the genius of this whole place. Like it's going to be exciting. It's so exciting for me right now. So is there anything more for process you want to talk about?
I just want to say what you're saying, basically, to reiterate that is, like, it doesn't have to start with a book. It just starts with writing, and who knows where that will take you if you just do that.
Yeah. Or even the reading part.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
classics, there's brand new stuff that's coming out that's fantastic. It's magazines, it's absolutely everything, anything.
Those things lead to what? Inspiration, which then all of a sudden you're like, I have an idea. And then you have the tools in which, because you know your topic and you know how to write. So now you have inspiration. Go at it.
And I think that's the thing too, is you start by writing, and then all of a sudden you become an authority. And that's what an author is. It's just an authority on a particular thing. So you may or may not get paid for it right away, but sooner or later, when you're an authority on something, people will come to you and they ask you, okay, tell me about this. Like now people can go to you and stop you on the street and say, so my sign,
Totally.
what do you think? And then you have the cards.
It's more like I stop them. What's your sign?
drawn to people to do that?
Sometimes I guess people's sign.
Really?
Yeah.
You doing it for cash or?
No. I do read tarot cards and I do charge, but not that often. I don't
It's not your
put it
job.
out there. But sometimes people seek me out for that. But no, I just love to tell people because I feel like chakra sun signs or our sign is basically our job to do for the universe, and it's all good. Do you know what I mean? It's energy, man, and it's positive energy, and it's teaching people that, hey, everybody's equal, and we're all meeting on equal playing fields, and would you like to know what you come here to do for other people, and how you can serve the world with being born when you chose to be born as a spirit, you know what I mean? So no, I fucking just love to give that shit away for free.
Because your book, the book that you're working on right now, the fiction book,
yes.
is it's a novel, and it talks about that as well. It sort of dwells into the spirit and the order of the universe and choosing to come back and where you choose and choosing your parents and whatnot. It's fascinating, and it opens up like a whole other door. It doesn't get all astrological, but it's very spiritual.
It's
got a
definitely
really great story too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It makes me want to cry because I started writing that before Chakra Sun Signs.
No way.
Oh yeah, man. Totally.
So it takes a really long time to write a book? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I started writing the end of the beginning before Apollo was born, my son, and he's going to be 17 in April. So,
oh my God.
But just very casually, I'm going to do this, and then that slowly happened. But I definitely love spirituality. I definitely am a very spiritual person, and I definitely believe that there's a purpose for everything.
Yeah, even the bad stuff.
Yep. Yeah, man.
What
You
if
saw
I
that?
don't,
Did
well,
you
what if
see
we
that
don't
in the book?
understand it though? What if I don't understand it? Is it still good? Because all I see is bad right now. It's just really disheartening. So what would you say to somebody like me who looks at the world and goes, oh my God, we just got rid of a certain president in a certain United States place, and then COVID, and then now this, and I'm like, oh, okay, wow.
The thing about trusting in spirit, it's not a religion. It's your spirit is yourself. Do you know what I mean? Your connection to whatever you choose to call it. I believe everything else that has a spirit. So that's nature, all plants and animals, each other. That is infinite, and it cannot be destroyed. And for us to live this is terrible. Yes, these shitty things that we have to deal with are awful. And the only way that I can explain it is that we know before we even get here as spirits what we're coming down to do as egos in this little life that we're playing. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna live
so
many
strong up there.
We're
We
gonna
look down
live.
and go, yeah, it's gonna be
It's another. I mean, I hate to go to this metaphor, but think of it as my son plays video games, and you pick your avatar for that game, and think about stupid games I don't know what it's called, that Grand Theft Auto, right? Where you can go and you can shoot people, or you can do all these nasty things, and you do it because, or you decide to drive your car off the thing and die, or smash it into it, because oh, I got another life. Doesn't matter. I think spirit is, I think spirit is but it's not that vain. I think spirit is gaining knowledge from each of these things, right? Mm-hmm. And even when it does bad things, it's learning from that, and it's holding on to that, and it's using that in its higher consciousness to make the world love. Mm-hmm. I think we have to be all to love all. Yeah. And until we do everything as spirits, in different lifetimes, we can't love everything. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we have to be the killer and the killed. However, I do think by now, haven't we all fucking done? I think we're all caught up.
Is this gonna end?
Right?
Yeah. But everybody's at a different space,
but yes,
right?
Absolutely. But I do think that we're all spirit, and I'm not religious, but I do believe there was a man, Jesus Christ, and that's what he, at the end of the day, was basically what I get from it trying to say is yeah, kill my body, whatever, but like,
Yeah.
I will live again. Like, this is,
Dad.
right? And we all will. We all will. At different people, different times. And I do believe that you do make your garden for the next life.
Yeah.
Right? So these are things to consider.
Right.
So what you learn or what you don't learn, do you know what I mean? Like, if you have killed, then you have to be killed, or vice versa.
Yeah.
If you've been killed, now you have to learn what it's like to kill someone so that you can love both sides of that coin.
Yeah.
God Almighty, I'm sorry. This is like, so
No, I shouldn't have
deep.
asked you the question. No, but I did want to ask you the question.
But that's the only way that I can sleep at
Yeah.
night. Why do babies
Yeah.
die? Why does this
Yeah.
happen? Is that spirit knows. Everybody knows spiritually. But we just are not in touch with that.
I don't think we can be, because if we remember everything from past experience,
Exactly.
like our brains would blow up.
Yeah, totally.
So we have to forget a lot of stuff. So that, I understand that part too. It's like,
And I'm not into this, but like there's the Aztec records or whatever.
Yeah.
So like it's all in there.
Yeah.
Everything that we've ever experienced is never. It's all
Sure.
stored.
It's like the cloud.
Yeah,
It's in the cloud.
Totally.
Sure.
Totally.
Yeah, because there's sometimes like, just a silly example, but when I was a kid and I was learning how to sew a button for the first time, and I remember picking up the thing and the needle and then threading it and it's fine, and then I just went like this to make the knot, and my mom's like, "How'd you learn how to do that?" And I said, "I don't know. I just like that's what you do. Isn't that what you do?" And I thought, "Oh, I've just watched her do it so many times." But she said, "Your grandmother did that. That's how your grandmother did it."
Oh, I love it.
Okay, good, bad, I don't know, I'm waiting, but it was a good thing, but it was just like a memory
Yes.
of,
Muscle
there's
memory.
no way that I could have known that, like I didn't learn it, I just knew it, and I thought, wow, that's so cool, and that started me on a lot of trying to remember more things, and stop forgetting so much, but yeah, now I'm back at forgetting a lot of stuff, so it must be full. Okay, so the astrology book was also one of the books that was, speaking of reading, one of the influences for your journey. And I just wanted to start with something, and then I'm going to let Santina talk some more. She found this on page 142. Astrology and the chakras are two of the most profound and long-standing models for understanding the human experience. It is natural that researchers would seek the correlation between these two systems, and much thought has been put forth in this direction. The difficulty of direct correlation stems from the fact that the number of chakras, 7, does not readily transpose to the number of planets, 10, or the signs, 12. And on that small little paragraph, Santina decided to just jump right in there and say, okay, well, nobody's done this for thousands of years. They can't get the two of them together. I think I can. And that was the product. That's crazy.
Yes.
You want to hold a book?
No. Yeah, I had studied astrology for a really, really long time. Just anything and everything I get my hands on, and asked everybody their sign. I recorded it in journals, wrote down people's name under where they were. And there was one lady in particular, actually, Linda Goodman. I don't know if I brought her book with me, but I was supposed to. Yes, this book in particular blew my mind and explained. It wasn't just like, oh, Aries are stubborn and Scorpios like sex. It was like, it actually explained why the people were the way they were, and broke it down into this science where she basically explains that there are 7 different ways that we connect with every other sign, 7 different vibrations, right? And I knew about this for a really long time, and I had it written down, thought that was interesting, wrote it down in my journal, one of my journals, here that I never date. This was back in 2001. I wrote down those 7 associations.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? And then, it wasn't until another 9 years later I took a chakra, or actually a Reiki course. and a couple energy courses with a lady named Lorena Fisher. And I did a chakra cleanse. And I learned about the chakras and the different energies of each chakra. And the more I learned about it, I'm like, oh, this sounds a lot like the 7 astrological vibrations. There was a lot of similarities. And I was like, huh, well, I'm sure that goes together. Because the other thing is, in numerology, there's sort of signposts and things to follow. So for me, the fact that there were 7 chakras and 7 vibrations was, to me, it had to be like, oh, obviously this goes together. And I just hadn't found the book on it yet. And I was living in Nova Scotia when I thought that. And then I moved back to town in 2011, and the library was at the arena under the stairs.
I love that. It was pretty cool.
And I found this astrology book, and I looked up chakras in it, thinking I was going to find this correlation that I had assumed. And there it was. And I was like, holy shit, I have to write a book! I have to write this book! And I was like, that's why it got written, and why it got written so fast, was because I was like, I discovered something. Like,
that's amazing. Like, that's amazing.
Right?
After thousands of years.
Thank you. I think so too, but not really the world.
They will after this. We break the internet with these.
This is the day.
Well, it just seems so. To be honest, the first time that I was reading it was quite a few years ago now, but I was thinking, well, of course, like, what did she do? Just make up the chart? Like, I don't understand what it is she's all excited about, because, like, this makes so much sense, and it's color coded. Okay, that's nice. But I didn't understand that it was like an invention of something brand new. The bridge was actually finally there, because it just made so much sense.
And honestly, I don't know that it is an invention, but like what I learned from tarot, that's how it all started, was that everything, all the occult science, like the keys to occult science are in the tarot, right? And so like astrology's in the tarot, and color energy's in the tarot, and animals are in the tarot, and it's just like, it goes on and on. Numbers are in the tarot. Everything that is used is in there. And I can't remember the damn point now.
Oh, how you invented something.
But it was like the secret, the keys to unlocking the secrets are in the tarot. And so that's why I was constantly looking and sort of struggling and trying to find, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like this has been waiting to be uncovered. And the only reason that it hasn't been is because I think astrology is Western. It's Western occult science. And chakra is Eastern occult science.
Yeah.
It's like the yin and the damn yang, man. And it's all a circle. Chakras are a circle. The astrology wheel is a circle. The yin and the yang is a circle. Put it together, and you've got the whole thing. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does.
The chakras teach that we receive energy. Astrology teaches that we give energy. Well, we do both, man. We do both. We're doing it all the time.
Yeah, that's how you keep the balance.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So when I also did a little bit of research, and the whole idea of you saying how you'd started one of your sessions one time at the Hinton Library, you said, this is going to not teach you, but it sort of sets it out for what you came to Earth to do for others.
Yeah.
And for me, just that one sentence takes all the stress off my back, because we're so worried about like the ego, right? It's like, what do I look like? How do I present myself to the world? What am I gonna, I don't know, what do they think of me? And it's always me centered, and it's like, you have to do all of this stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like the pressure's off, because your job, sweet baby girl, is get out there and do something for somebody else. And it takes the weight of the world right off you, because your job isn't about you, and it's not about getting perfect in any way. You already are perfect.
Totally.
Your job is now to go help this person over here, who is also perfect, but you can bring a little bit of something.
Yeah, man.
And then there's that exchange.
There's so many beautiful things about astrology. Like the fact that there are 4 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and that we're all ruled by one of those elements. Well, can we live without earth?
No.
Can we live without water?
No.
Can we live without fire? Can
No.
we live without air? Right?
No.
And those are the 4 elements. And can they all kill us? Yes. Right?
Yeah.
So we all have this equal responsibility. We can all, and then when we come together, like fire and water. Okay, well, fire can put out water. Water can put out fire. Fire can evaporate water. But also, if fire is out of control, what do you need? More fire or a little bit of water to douse those flames down? So realizing your responsibility, that we're part of nature just like everything else, right? And we have jobs to do for elements, for the earth, for each other.
So there it is too, again, we're not apart from the elements, we're a part of the elements.
Totally.
See, there again, another piece that just falls off your back, because you're like, I actually do belong. You know, people who struggle in the world and say, I have no purpose, I'm so sad and I got nothing and the world is crappy, blah, blah, blah. It's like, just turn around. All you have to do is just like turn around and look out another window and you see that you have so much. That is your only thing, is to help other people. Make their lives a little bit nicer, easier, bring them a flower, make them smile, whatever.
It's whatever you do.
That. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And you have a specialty. So depending on what your element is, earth, water, fire, air, each of those elements has specialties, much like the element itself. So if you think of water, you think of, well, I think of tears, I think of receptiveness, right? It holds things, right? It nurtures us. And so water is emotional. And so that's what water has to offer, water signs. Fire signs, they have, you know, you sit by a fire, you wow. You know, everybody gathers around the fire. It's inspirational. It's creative.
It's the storytelling. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. Earth, that's like foundational. You build things on it. You grow things in it. It supports you, right? So earth signs are supportive and represent foundations and stability. And then finally air, I always think of like, you know, when people talk in a cartoon and they have that thing over their head, right? It's like thoughts, communication, that's air.
Wow.
So they have things too. I know this is probably going way over time, but the other thing I want to say is, when people say to me like, oh, signs, like, no, just because I'm born in April, why? And blah, blah. It's like vegetables is what I always tell people. You know, when do you get asparagus? It grows in the damn spring, man. That's when it grows.
I was wondering where is she going with
What about
this?
pumpkins? They come in the fall.
Right.
They don't come in the spring.
Right.
They're all vegetables, but depending on the time of year, you get different vegetables of different nutrients that make different properties that you need to sustain you.
So people are like vegetables.
Kinda.
I like it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because you don't get apples
That's
right
right.
away. You don't get
Right.
fruits or vegetables.
We are shining the energy of our season. And what I've recently come to realize is that, not just signs, but the season that we're in is affecting us energetically.
So it's going to
That's my
more
next
light
book.
that's coming in. Oh, good. Okay. We'll write that down. She's coming back in a few years. But it takes 20 years to write a book. So I probably won't be
two
here.
left in me, folks. Oh wait, I'm living to be 97, so maybe.
How do you know you're going to be 97?
I've been planning it for years.
Planning it for years?
Yeah.
Nice.
Live to be 97, dying in my sleep. And
Dying
why?
in my sleep, yeah.
Because 9 plus 7.
16.
Yeah.
Is 7.
Yes.
Oh, man. That's right. Yeah. You know what I like is my sister does the same thing with numbers all the time. So she figures we only go up to 9.
Okay.
So how old are you now?
I am, okay, I got one for you. I read a book once.
She doesn't want to say.
Okay, I don't care. I'm so proud of my age, girl.
I know.
Please, I
I
ain't
mean,
never lied about this shit. I will be 48 April 7th. Right now I'm 47.
So you're 3 years old.
Well, for me, I didn't even
3, 4.
know. Well, 47 adds up to 11, and you don't break down the.
Yeah, well, my sister does.
Oh.
Like she likes
Yeah,
it
you
up to
don't-
9, and then that's
11, 22. You're not supposed to break down the doubles.
Oh, is that right?
Like 11 is a very powerful number on its own. You're not really supposed to touch that shit and make it into a 2.
Well, really?
Mhm.
Why?
That's
Why?
just
What's
what they
11?
say. 11 is highly spiritual.
Oh, like when you see on the clock 11:11 and people
Yeah,
freak out.
but 11 by itself is a very highly spiritual number, and then 2 is a highly they basically like 1s are new beginnings,
Yeah.
and 2s are union and partnership. 3s are creativity, babies. 4 are structure, foundations, like the 4 walls of a house.
Mhm.
5 is like the door, so it's like sort of conflict or unknown, like what's behind the door, where am I going? 6 is sharing, 7 is magic, 8 is movement, 9 is summing up,
Yeah.
10 is completion, well, actually back to 1, you're starting again.
Yeah, see, that's what she's all about.
Yeah, so 9 is the highest number.
Yeah.
She's right.
Yeah.
So what?
But you're not supposed to simplify 11.
No, that's what I've read. Or 22 or 33, like
The double ones.
Yep.
Well, maybe they're just on their own, though. They have another set of rules.
it's just like more, it's like a higher energy of that
Yeah.
number, right? It's vibrating higher.
And when you talk about numerology, it's not just like you know how you said there's Eastern understanding of energy and there's Western understanding. So there's the astrology and there's the chakras, but numerology seems to be in just about every side. Like even with
Yeah,
the Cree, they believe there's 7 sisters, and 7 is a really big number. For
it's
that.
big for everything because, like, once
Yeah.
again, spirit does leave mark and posts, I
Right.
believe, and
So
that is
numerology might be the posts.
well, definitely for me. It was like 7 and 7. Oh my God, that's how I figured this shit out. I was like, because they leave little. There's messages.
That's so great. So you have to read and you have to pay attention in the world so that you can find these signposts.
Like, honestly, I believe that we all are. If we have a question, the universe will provide us with an answer, and one of the ways you can get your answers, it sounds corny, but it's from the library. Like, I have found so like this. But seriously, reading this, finding that out, I was at the library, man.
Yeah.
Like, I have had so many monumental discoveries about myself or writing purposes, like the Raven.
Yeah.
I found that out here as well. Like, picked up a book and read, and I was like, you know what I mean?
It's almost like it gets thrown at you.
So if you're looking for it, it's there for everybody. Like, you're like, oh, this stuff always happens to you. It's like, it would happen to you too. It does happen to you too, but you're just not paying attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your own details, man.
Yeah.
And you'd be amazed at how much your spirit's actually talking to you.
Or when you're looking for something, you're going to find it in a magazine, and all of a sudden you hear it on the news, and all of a sudden there's a book, and then your friends bring you books about this thing, and you go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
and you get all the information that you could possibly ever want.
Totally.
Yeah. And I absolutely agree. Like, the library has been for me a godsend since forever. Like, it's not supposed to be the repository of all knowledge anymore. They want it to be, like a center and a community and whatnot. And it's becoming that too. But it's still a repository of all the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look around.
Mhm.
It's just reposing everywhere. Repose over there. And it's everything that you could imagine and more. Like, you don't even know that there's questions out there. Like,
Yeah,
that. And
you can manifest here. You can manifest your right.
Yeah.
And you can do it at the church sale too. Like, oh, I really want a pair of boots. Oh, you go there.
It's true.
But you want to manifest answers. The library, I swear to God, like it's.
Yeah. What would we do without them?
Yeah.
I know. Yay, library. That was the best plug ever. And it was just so great.
Love me a library. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to do a where we'll go around the room and you
Or
could
reading.
and you could read us, and then if we want and if we have time we could say like Cancer and a Taurus, let's say.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah,
Sure.
totally.
Okay.
Okay, what's your sign? Taurus?
Pisces.
Pisces, okay. So, I told you that everybody has an element. Every sign has an element, one of 4 elements. So there's 4 elements and there's 3 jobs. So, there's a leader and a communicator and an organizer for each element. And do you have any idea what you are?
I'm not gonna say.
Don't be shy. It's okay. What
Nobody
element
can
do you
see you
think
anyway.
you are? I'm sorry I'm picking on you because they both know all.
I'd probably say Earth, but
Cool. Well, close. You're water.
well, water because of Pisces.
Well, water, yeah, the fish, right? A lot of people think Aquarius is water because it's the water bearer, but it's actually air. But Pisces is water,
Yeah.
and Pisces is the communicator of water. So water is in charge of emotion, love, and friendship, and so you communicate emotion, love, and friendship. That's your job.
Okay.
Good to know you can start tomorrow.
You are very compassionate, or you're meant to be.
Yeah.
It's your
Meant to be,
job.
I like
It's your job in life. Well, also Pisces are very analytical. They like to. They love to just get you to sort of fight. Not fight, but they'll be like, well, I don't know. Is it really like that, or is it like that? You know, like they sort of. And it's because they're the last house. They see all. So they really get a full picture, and they're really not one-sided at all. They want to hear everything. So like right now, you're like, yeah, maybe I believe in this. Maybe I don't.
I'll get back to you on that one. Thank you. So, sorry, what was her? There's leader, communicator, and
Organizer.
organizer.
And there's a difference between those three jobs. So leaders begin their season. So I am the leader of fire. Aries is the leader of fire, and it brings in spring, right? And as leaders, they say that we have cardinal energy, which means we like change. Change. We're constantly, what's that new thing, right? It's hard for us to sort of stick with one particular goal, or we're just all over the place. And that is because we like that energy. Like, you know, spring's coming, winter's over, woo! You like that, and that you exude that in your life, right? Next come organizers. When they're born, it already is spring. It already is your Taurus. You are the earth organizer. It's already spring, man. That's what it is.
Get it over with. Yeah. I hate spring. It's so flux. It drives me crazy.
But you
But I like it once it's here. It's fine.
Yeah. And anyway, organizers are fixed, so they don't like changes much. They're sort of like, this is the way it is. This is the way it'll always be. Thank you very much.
It works.
They ain't like going all over the place, right? And then you got the communicators, like you. You come at the end of a season, and so you are mutable in nature. And that means you're like, yeah, let's wait and see, and then we'll decide. I'm not going to make any, just like I just said to you about me, and you know, you're like, maybe not, we'll see. Is it going to be fall tomorrow, or is it still going to be summer? We're not sure yet, but we'll decide when the time comes, and we'll make the right decision then. That's the mutable energy of communicators, right?
Right.
And so that's the difference between those three jobs. And then depending on what your element is, that also makes you have different, right? Specialties.
Yeah.
So when you combine those things, and then you combine them with other people, that's how you get
A
the
really
different
good group.
well, the different energies.
Wow.
That's how you make different energy. Like you and me are going to respond differently because you're earth and I'm fire than me and you, who is air. Air and fire. What's air and fire going to do, right? Ooh, you're going to blow on my fire. I'm going to warm your air, or you're going to blow up my fire, or I can suffocate your air.
She's kind of a big fire. I don't know if you noticed that.
So yes, you are the air leader. So you lead air, and air's in charge of intellect and communication, and so that's what you do. And you are the earth organizer, Taurus. I can also tell you what Cavell is. She is also an Aries like me. She is also the fire leader. So she leads inspiration and creativity, right?
Yeah, she got some of this started. I wonder when Janine was born.
I think Janine's a Virgo.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she is.
That would be then there.
Yeah, and Janine is the earth communicator.
Yeah.
So you're the organizer, she communicates earth, she communicates foundations and stability.
We work really well together.
Yeah, well you,
Super good.
because you're both earth,
Yeah.
you speak the language of earth. So it's like if you were in France, well not France because you're French, but
Okay,
so
Croatia.
if you were in Italy and
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
speak any any Italian and you're just there hanging out and suddenly you hear someone else who speaks English across the way.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, hey, how you doing? Where are you from? Very easy to pick it up.
Yeah.
The thing with your own element is it can get out of control, right? It's like fire. Next thing you're a forest fire.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
like people always say in a lot of astrology books, oh, that's like the best combination is you with, right? But that's what happens sometimes. It can turn into a fist fight where you just end up punching each other harder,
Yeah.
right? So there's no bad energy. It's just learning how to use it properly and understanding and respecting it when you're working with other people.
Well, like you were talking about the yin and yang, right? It's got to be balanced.
Totally.
So sometimes one person's going to be stronger, sometimes the next person gets stronger, and you just, like you flow.
Or like if they're really bugging you, you might have an energy that you need working out, and that's why
You figure out what it is it's bugging.
exactly right, and that helps you to specify if you know what their sign is. Just like, okay, I meet them here, so obviously I'm having issues with some kind of emotion in this department.
Yeah.
So ask me then. You said you were going to give me, or you each can give me someone in your life if you know their birthday, and I'll tell you what energy you make with them. Because basically, you make each person in your life in the color of the rainbow and make a specific energy with them.
Okay.
And I'll give you a chart after to take home and study.
I don't know the sign for January 2nd.
January 2nd is Capricorn. So Capricorn and a Libra are both leaders. Yeah.
So correct.
Which, it's funny that you think that, because actually, in most astrology books you read, they'll tell you that is like, don't do it. That's bullshit. It's actually a really, really nice combination when you learn to respect one another. Since you both are leaders, you do the same job, but you do it with elements that don't readily combine. They're earth and you're air. So you can blow their earth all over the place, or they can suffocate your air with their earth, right? But if you have respect for one another, then it's like being the allies of two powerful countries. You can talk together and like make solid plans and learn from one another. And once you build respect, you meet in the heart chakra, and you balance each other, and you are complete heart-to-heart friends. Like you can grieve together and allow each other to love and trust if you can get past that. Yeah, that's honestly one of my favorite. They're all good, but it's one of my favorite relationships. I have a lot of heart chakra girlfriends. Mostly Cancers. Love you guys.
You know who you are. So your child is a hoodoo. Like, it could be a hoodoo, right? Because you've got earth and air. And you're forming-
What's your husband or man?
Sorry, that was my husband. My son is an Aquarius.
So he's air.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you are both air, but he's the organizer of air, so he's fixed, whereas you are cardinal. So you like change way more than he will. And your husband and your son are side by side. And so they meet in the sacral chakra, which is orange. Basically, your son, if you're looking at, is in grade 8, and your husband's still in grade 7. Like, in terms of spiritualness. So your husband's going to look up to your son, and your son is going to have an understanding for your husband.
Wow.
Yeah. And they help each other with choices. Basically, are next door neighbors in the zodiac, so they can look into each other's life and give advice for across the fence, whether they like it or not. And they will always be able to do that for one another.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's going to be lovely. It's going to be lovely. It might not be lovely right now, but it's probably lovely. Go ahead. You want to do you?
Oh yeah, sure. February 10th.
So that is an Aquarius. So you meet Aquarius in orange as well. Pisces and Aquarius. They're right after you.
Yeah.
And so, they basically represent, you're like, at that time in your life, they give you that energy of sort of like, oh my God, like I am just about to have another trip around the sun. I'm getting close to that time of year. Do you know what I mean? So they give you sort of a summing up and evaluation kind of relationship. They help you with your creativity and your choices. Give me another one just because I already did that combo.
August 3rd.
Okay, so that is a Leo. Very cool. So a Leo and you don't have much in common in astrology. Like in sun signs, like you don't share a job, you don't share an element, you don't share a season, your elements don't blend automatically. You don't appear to have anything in common on the outside. But inside,
Sometimes it feels that way.
but inside you're incredible.
Child.
Inside you're incredibly alike. You know each other intuitively, and you'll know when the other person is thinking of you, or you might often have dreams about them. And it takes a while, but you come together in roundabout ways. When you do meet up, you're actually usually really intrigued by each other. Me and Janine are third eye friends, and I am totally intrigued by Janine. But I don't know her that well, but do you know what I mean? Like, we see each other, and that's what happens with your third eye friends. You see each other, you know of each other.
You mean like third eye?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
But it takes time for you to actually, you know, it's because of all of those different elemental reasons, you just aren't often in the same place at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or thinking alike.
Sometimes. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Segue.
You said Cancer?
Cancer, yeah.
So Cancer and Taurus. So Cancer is water, the water leader. So they lead emotion, love, and friendship. And you are Taurus, the earth organizer. And so earth and water blend naturally, right?
Mud.
Makes
nice.
mud, but also like earth protects and gives a body of water, like it's, right? And water provides for the earth and keeps it nourished. Once again, you can still kill each other if you really wanted to.
Still raining.
But the fact that your elements blend naturally like that, effortlessly, is a solar plex chakra. That's yellow. That's personal powers. You make each other feel good. You build each other up. You complement one another, but you do not compete with one another. Yeah.
Okay, what about with Cancer and Aquarius?
Cancer and Aquarius is actually a third eye. Yeah. So look nothing alike on the surface, but inside are very much alike, very in tune with one another, and come together in roundabout ways.
Eventually?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes
So
time.
everything takes time, is what you're saying,
Well,
as well.
it does and it doesn't, because also like sometimes you'll just have all these Pisces come into your life, and you're like, what the heck's going on? Like, do you know what I mean? It depends on what you need, what your spirit needs, what other spirits need. Sometimes you're called to just call somebody out of the blue. Like, I feel like that's us, you know, acting outside of it, just knowing. Do you know what I mean? Or vice versa. When I wrote Dark Sunsets, at first I just wrote like the theory, right? And I gave it to my friends, and they're like, "Where's the rest of it?" Like, what? True story. They're like, "What do you mean? I just explained it all here. And there's like 10 pages."
So my book is 10 pages long.
And they're like, no, you need case studies. And so when I went back, it actually started to, I didn't have case studies. It was just a theory. Then I had to actually start thinking about my life.
So you were applying.
And then when I freaking started to do that, I was like, oh my God. When this, you know, when I was having a personal power problem, like my solar plex chakra was like, when I had no like self-esteem, who was in my life? Yellow friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I was having sacral issues, who shows up? Orange friends. Like, it was like, oh my God, this has always been here. This is happening without us even being aware of it.
Yeah.
But if you're aware of it, I just think it makes you feel a little bit better, and it helps you to be a little bit more understanding of other people and yourself. Yeah. And to know that you're always being guided by a higher source, that you are being looked after by your own spirit, is what I figured from it. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like,
It's not a map, but it's almost like a set of scale. I'm trying to think of it as an image. What could I use? I still like the yin and yang. I think that works.
yeah,
I think we're gonna have to stick with that one.
okay.
I was gonna say scales, but I don't know. It sounds kind of good and evil.
Yeah.
But I like the yin and yang.
Or a compass.
Maybe a compass.
Just it can direct you, it can show you if you want.
Yeah. Because a map is like you know where you're going, and you just want to check and make sure all the time. But I don't think we know where we're going.
No.
So maybe a compass is probably a better idea.
I have a question.
Awesome.
Like that. So I have a good friend who has the same birthday as me.
Root chakra.
What? Sorry.
You meet her in the root chakra.
Root chakra.
Yeah. And so these are the people that come to the earth to do the same job as you at the same time for the same reason. And you generally really like your fellow Pisces. And for me personally, some of my best and oldest friends are Aries. And I actually don't meet many of them nowadays. But old, like, that's root, man. That's, you know, that's your foundations. And those tend to be, like, a lot of time when you'll meet those folks. And they will tell you when it's safe or when it's not safe. That's all about survival. Think about it. When you first come, you're just bored. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it's about your tribe, your family, your immediate family, that tribe, and surviving, right? And so fellow Pisces do that for you. They'll tell you when it's safe or when it's not safe, and you do that for them too. It's a very strong, secure friendship. Anyway, I'm sorry to cut you off. What was your
that's
question?
just interesting. I was just kind of curious. So I never really thought about it that way.
Yeah. And you really like, you're like, I don't know, I just really, you're so good looking and smart. I just really like her.
Or you just feel comfortable.
You do.
Yeah.
Yes, because absolutely you do. My son is an Aries like me, and I totally feel that energy from us. Like we rarely fight, and when we do, it's like because, okay, something's not safe or, do you know what I mean? But otherwise, like, really, really love one another. And I mean, I'm sure everybody loves their kids, but I'm just saying, like, definitely there's a connection there. And like I said, two of my oldest friends are Aries as well. And my adopted mother and my adopted brother and my adopted grandmother, which is also funny because when I was adopted, I needed to be safe. I needed to be protected, and all these Aries came to,
Wow.
right?
Yeah. So there's blood, but then there's like blood family, but there's also like almost an air family, like
Yeah.
angels or whatever you want to call it.
I've always
spirits or
thought of
whatever.
my friends as my family, and the people that I make in my life. You know, if you get in, you ain't getting out. I'm keeping you forever.
It's the mafia. It's like a mafia. Well, on that happy note, we're the mafia. Thank you for joining us on this next session. Will be next Thursday, and hopefully it'll be Nikki Wilson that will be here. So stay tuned. Thanks. Bye.